Okay, so we all think of tarot as this tool for looking inward, right? But what if it's something totally different? In this explainer, we're going to dig into a source that makes a pretty wild claim that these cards are actually part of a hidden system, a system of control. Let's dive in. And boom, right out of the gate, the source hits us with this. I mean, that's a powerful way to start, right? It just immediately makes you question everything. When you're staring into that so-called mirror, who or what is staring back at you? So this really boils it down to the central conflict. You've got the popular belief over here, tarot and oracle decks are basically harmless, just tools for personal guidance. But then you have the source's claim on the other side, that they're actually components of a system designed to track, record, and even bind your energy. It's this huge contrast, right? From self-help to, well, what the source calls energetic surveillance. Basically a way to keep tabs on you through your own energy field.
So, how do we even begin to unpack a claim like that? Well, according to the source, you have to go back. You have to look at the history of tarot itself. Because, as they say, it wasn't always this mystical thing we think it is today. Let's check out the timeline.
Okay, so this is pretty fascinating. The story doesn't start with some ancient mystic ritual. Nope. Back in the 15th century, tarot was just a card game called tarocchi, played by Italian nobles. But then, things start to change. Fast forward to the 18th century, and occultists get their hands on it, rebranding it and linking it to things like Egyptian myths. Then you get the big one in 1887. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which was founded by Freemasons, takes it and really formalizes it. And all of that culminates in the 1909 Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Yeah, that's the one you see everywhere. The point the source is making here is that tarot's mystical purpose wasn't original. It was a later invention, a deliberate addition.
And the source says the Golden Dawn wasn't just making this stuff up. They were more like assemblers. They supposedly took bits and pieces of much older systems, what the source calls priest-class technology, and repackaged them. We're talking about things like Egyptian initiation rites, Sumerian gatekeeping rituals, paths from the Kabbalistic tree of life, and even Enochian angelic scripts. And notice that last one. The source describes those scripts as grid codes. Like they're not just angelic writing, they're symbols specifically designed to plug into something bigger. So the picture being painted here is that modern tarot is really just a mashup of ancient control systems.
Okay, so this all leads us to the absolute core of the source's entire argument. It's a concept they call the grid. And this is supposedly the hidden engine, the mechanism that makes all of these divination tools actually work.
So what is this grid exactly? Well, according to the source, the best way to think about it is like an energetic internet. A massive, invisible control system that's all about frequency. It's designed to track and record our energetic signatures. And those divination tools? The tarot cards, the oracle decks, they're basically just the hardware, the keyboard and mouse that we willingly pick up and use to log ourselves right into that system.
And this is how they say it all goes down when you do a reading. It's a step-by-step process. First, you ask a question. Seems innocent enough, right? But that action opens up a signal channel. Step 2, the grid reads your energy field, it matches your frequency. But here's the twist. Step 3, it's not some benevolent spirit guide that responds. The source says it's an astral impersonator that serves you up a scripted timeline. And the final most important step, you believe it. That's your unconscious consent. By accepting the reading, you're supposedly agreeing to let that scripted reality play out in your life. Which, of course, leads to the big question, right? When you pull that card, who is really responding? If it's not your higher self, if it's not some angel or guide, then who is on the other end of the line? The source suggests that what you're connecting to aren't guides at all, but more like gatekeepers or mimics whose only job is to keep you running in a pre-written loop. All right, so far we've been talking a lot about traditional tarot, but now the argument takes a turn and looks at something much more modern, those beautiful pastel-colored oracle decks you see everywhere. And according to this source, they might pose a totally different and maybe even a more sneaky kind of danger. This chart lays out the supposed differences really clearly. Let's look at tarot first. The mechanism is said to be all about coded symbols, these sigils, and very structured paths like the Fool's Journey. The danger? You get locked into a scripted timeline. Now look at the oracle decks. The source says their mechanism is totally different. They're all about open-ended questions with no real structure or shielding.
They're disguised as self-care or connecting with the divine feminine, but the real danger, according to this, is that they're designed to trigger your emotions, leading to what's called a field invasion.
And this line just sums it up all up, doesn't it? A field invasion disguised as self-care. It's so potent because it turns the whole appeal of these decks on its head. The very thing that draws people in, that gentle, vulnerable, emotional connection, is framed here as the actual trap. That soft, soothing vibe is just the camouflage for what the source calls a frequency trap.
Okay, so after basically tearing down the entire concept of divination tools, the source doesn't just leave you there in a state of fear, it actually pivots to a really empowering conclusion. The focus shifts entirely to how you can reclaim that power for yourself by turning inward instead of looking for answers from some external tool. And the solution they offer is actually incredibly simple and really direct. It's this. You don't need a card to know what you already feel. It's a call to start trusting your own internal guidance system, your gut feeling, your intuition, more than you trust a piece of cardboard. The argument is that the knowledge you're seeking, it's already inside you. This really hammers home the core message that you are already plugged in. You're already connected to your own truth. The source uses this beautiful metaphor of an inner flame that is source-aligned. What that means is your own spirit is already connected to the real deal, the true universal energy. And if that's the case, then things like tarot decks are, at best, an unnecessary middleman, and at worst, a dangerous one. And it all builds to this one final powerful line. This is the call to action. From now on, we don't pull cards, we pull fire. Wow. I mean, that just perfectly captures the whole shift in thinking, doesn't it? Stop reaching for a deck of cards outside of yourself and start activating that power, that fire that's already burning within. So we're going to leave you with this final thought-provoking question. After hearing all this, whether you think these tools are good, bad, or somewhere in between, this perspective really forces you to ask yourself, when I believe the outcome is already written, what system am I actually aligning my soul with? Is it something external, something based on cards and symbols, or is it my own inner compass? According to this source, where you choose to place your belief, well, that's everything. Definitely something to think about.